experttrainer.com. For complete Oracle SQL training, please visit experttrainer.com. For just $25, you can download all Oracle SQL training videos in WMV format, which can be played using Windows Media Player. Subscription is valid for 6 months. Let's talk about some of the disadvantages of storing data in text files or spreadsheets. First disadvantage is redundant data. For example, if you were to have a spreadsheet or a text file of data that contains, for example, customer data. So you have a text file or a spreadsheet with data relating to all the customers who buy orders at your store or buy stuff at your store. Every time a customer purchases something from your company or your store, we have a complete record of their name, address, city, state, zip, and other information along with the purchases they make. And if you were to think about storing each record of individual purchases, so if you want to store a record of each purchase by a customer on a separate row of a spreadsheet or a text file, you will see that first of all there is a lot of redundant information. For example, the address information, name, city, state, and zip might be redundant across multiple rows. Let's go further and let me show you a diagram. This table represents, treat this as an Excel, think of this as an Excel sheet with 5 different rows and a header, or 6 different rows and a header. If you look at the diagram here, John is our customer who came into our store and bought a television, and David came in and bought a camera. Kathy came in and bought a computer, and John, he comes back to the store and buys a DVD player, and David comes back after a few days and buys a camcorder. So on and so forth. Like whenever the customers come in and buy something, you add a row to the Excel sheet or Word or text file. When I said customers here, I just added customer's first name to the diagram, but we are probably going to store their first name, last name, address, phone number, and all that information in the customers for each and every customer. And for orders, we will store the order information or the product information, for example TV and the cost of the TV and the weight and stuff like that. So a row consists of all this information. So when John comes back after a month or so and buys a DVD player, we need to add all that information again to the Excel sheet. We need to add John's first name, last name, address, phone number, and the product name, cost, and all that. And same for David when he comes back and buys a camcorder. As you see here, we are repeating a lot of data. For example, we are storing John's information twice and David's information twice. And if we have a few hundred thousands of customers, and if each of them come back and buy something 10 or 20 times, we are going to have we are going to repeat that their information 10 or 20 times. And so there's a lot of redundant data. With all that redundant data we saved each time in a different row, it increases the file size. Now for a simple application with a few thousand orders, that may not be a problem. But when you're saving tens of thousands of rows or even millions of rows over a course of a number of years, certainly there needs to be a better way and more efficient way to manage the data. Let's look at the next diagram. A database takes care of this issue by splitting customer information and order information into different tables. So it splits customer information into one table and order information into another table. And each of these orders in the order table are related to the corresponding customer in the customers table. We just need to store one record per customer, even if the customer makes multiple purchases. So for example, we have this is the way a database stores data. We store customer information in a separate table. So John, David, and Kathy are added to the customer table. Their name, their address, and phone numbers are added to the customers table. So there are 3 rows in the customers table for 3 customers. And orders are stored in the orders table. So we have, let's say, 5 products: TV, camera, computer, DVD player, and camcorder. And each of these products will be stored in a separate row in the order table. So there are 5 rows in the orders table. So when John comes in and buys a television, we add John to the customers table, and we add television to the orders table, and we relate both using a relationship. So John buys TV, and when David comes in and buys a camera, we add David to the customers table and camera to the orders table, and we join them together. When Kathy comes in and buys a computer, we add Kathy to the customers table and computer to the orders table or the products table. It's actually, we should call it products because it's not orders. We are representing products in the products table. So Kathy buys a computer, and we add Kathy to the customers table and computer to the products table, and add a relationship between both. Now John comes back and buys a DVD player. Since John already exists as a customer in the customers table, we don't need to add all his information again. We just add the DVD player to the products table. Or we might have all the products listed in that table, even since we know what kind of products we carry. So we don't need to add John, but we need to add a relationship between John and DVD player. Same with David. When he buys camcorder, we don't need to add his information to the table. We just add a relationship between David and the camcorder in the products table. That way we are not storing customer information more than once. We're just storing in one place. And even if he buys 100 things from our store, we just refer to those 100 things to that customer row in the customers table. A database does a lot more than splitting customers and products into different tables. It maintains relationship between these tables, and it makes it easy for us to join these 2 tables together and produce reports. For example, if we want to print customer name and product information of all the customer information and all the products that they bought, we could easily join these 2 tables by using some commands and create the kind of output that we need. So database takes care of the relationship between these 2 tables. Database removes all redundant data without compromising the relationship between these 2 types of data. So as we proceed further into the course, you will understand more about what I'm talking about now. Don't worry if you're not clear about this. We will cover all this in further sessions.